Alright, so let's do this round two. So I already tried to stream this once and the fucking thing crashed on me. So if it crashes on me again, I don't know what to do. So it gets this way sometimes and drives me up the fucking wall. Anyhow, this is my darkness piece. This is where it's at now. So you know,
This
I
is
guess
what
for the
you guys
purposes of a
get.
speed video, like I'll try to like, you know, here,
Alright, here
here,
you go.
here, 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 there. Hope you learned something. Because I hate explaining shit 3 times, dude. Like, I just can't deal with it.
And that's the end of the video.
Nah, I'm trying to find something to listen to, bro. Because I need something in my.
You mean my angelic voice isn't enough?
You know, you don't like it when I just pick on you. You don't make it easy. See, all this didn't matter until I had to reboot the computer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now I'm like, I already went down like I'm on my first. There's like a level to totally fucking giving up, and like I'm down one bit. You know, I feel the heat on my face. I'm just sort of waiting to see if this will crash again too.
Right.
You know, like I'm just sort of biding a little bit of time. See if this fucking thing's gonna crash again.
Set my headset down real quick so I can blow my nose. Because I'm afraid ever since that one time where I muted it and then it came back all horrible, I'm afraid to mute it. So I'll just set it to the side and you're going to have to hear it from far away.
I have to cover up the window while I'm working because I can't watch a duplicate of myself. paint. Can't do it. One thing I try to do now is set up a adjustment layer above my work and just set it to desaturate so I can see what this is looking like and value. And we can try to move as quick as possible. We'll set this to a darken layer and make this darken. Then I gotta come in here and from the top down just start filling in all the white spots. You don't have to worry about trapping too much. Because what it's primarily doing is filling in the lighter areas.
Nice. How many hours did the Master Chief take?
Couple hours.
Just a couple.
Yeah. See, this process speeds up a whole lot when I don't have to digitally paint a whole background on top of it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's another. There's not going to be a lot of that going on, by the way. Like my backgrounds from now for a while, dude. The Mononoke piece, sort of, like customer commissions are one thing. I'll go the extra mile for them.
Uh-huh.
But for my own stuff, smoky back colored background, that's it. Because I'm really tired of being that guy who's like, oh, yeah, I'll kick it up the notch every fucking time, when most people aren't.
Right.
Like, a lot of people just aren't. You know, I don't have the time. I got other stuff to do. To be honest with you, I'd rather just be working on Game Cave, but since I have to raise money to take care, I mean, I've said before, I can afford to print Game Cave. I'd just rather not spend my savings,
Mm-hmm.
to do it. I've spent enough of my savings, so Game Cave people have to wait a little bit longer, but at this point, who cares? You
Right.
know, like it's not like I misappropriated my funds or nothing. It's just the way shit worked out. So, but yeah, I spent like all week going back and forth. Like maybe there's an easier way to do. Maybe I'll just do prints without any of this painting. But I just think it looks like shit when they're just sitting on a fucking thing. And some people go, "Well, it doesn't matter." But I'm like, well, it'd be nice to raise a decent amount of money,
Yeah.
And I'm tired of being like, all I know to do is when I go down the path of trying to save time, it doesn't. You know what I mean?
It's not
Like
even worth it.
there are ways to save time that I think are effective, but at the same time, it's like, okay, like not painting digital backgrounds. That's a way to save time, and you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the backgrounds are still digital, they're lit, but smoke mirrors, it's fine. They don't have to be these things. Um, Not everything will be like, obviously like this. A lot of the prints I'll do, like they're gonna be just figures up to the legs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So not just the faces, but I'd say down to about waistline. with the legs a little bit below the waistline.
I don't think you'll hear too many people complaining.
Well, that's how I end up in that sword territory, bro. You know? And I'd rather draw a really dope ass link than spend my whole time trying to make the background and the world look kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know? So at this point, it's like, what can I actually do? And right now, if I don't start getting busy, it's going to be nothing, you know?
Uh-huh.
That's across the board. Like right now, I'm not moving quite as fast as not moving quite as fast as I should be. You know, I lost a little bit of time this week messing around with printer stuff. I bought a new printer to see if I could do this watercolor printing thing. So I don't have transfer my so being able to print right on watercolor stuff and paint over it, and it just doesn't. You know, no matter what they say, with inks are waterproof. I don't know, they're just not. So it was $300. The printer's going back. Amazon's got. I made sure I had a return policy on that. But I was messing with that all week, so I could see if maybe I could paint the Mononoke background with watercolor. You know,
Uh-huh.
and so, but that eats up time. You know,
Right.
and then I messed around with how to like do the Copic backgrounds, because basically like when I do like prints or stuff like that, I want two looks. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
this look, and you saw that Red Hood
Yeah.
test I did. That's a small little test. You know, and so so it's clean or messy. You know, it's not Copics with a messy background, and it's not Saucy's with a clean background. And it's like I have to sort of like arrive at how to do that and then define it. So when you put them right next to one another, it's not the same thing. I don't want the looks blending in and becoming one thing. As well as getting up, all my digital painting things back together in my head because we got game cave shit to make, and we got secret project stuff to make,
Yep, yep.
which falls under game cave. So, it's like,
Did you cut out or did you just stop talking?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were talking about how you met Sean Galloway and he was a cool dude and everything. And it was just like, it's just one of those things where it was really frustrating for the first part of my career when every fucking indie guy I talked to, they see my work and because I have an animated feeling to a lot of my stuff, they go, you should be on the kitty books. Which is funny when I'm coloring this, but
Right.
you know, um, and then immediately it's like, can you draw like Sean Galloway, And I'm like, look, I can, but I'd rather, you know what I mean? Like, is that it? You know,
Right.
like I'm a pretty big fan of animation. There's a lot of different ways to do this, you know.
Yeah.
And then some of my friends are good friends with him, and all day long, they'd come in and see what I'm working on. They go, well, Sean's doing this, and Sean's doing that, and Sean's doing this, and Sean's doing that. It's like, it's like, well,
Yeah.
what are you doing? It's really nice that your friend is doing a bunch of stuff. And he's super famous. But what are you up to? Yeah.
I don't remember if I heard of him through you or just randomly because of the little nickname, or I can't remember what it was, but
I don't call him by
right.
his nickname.
I think I heard the nickname one time and then I mentioned it and he told me you knew him. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know him. I've not hung out with Sean.
Not know him like,
A lot of my friends are friends with him. You know what I mean?
right.
Um, I don't go and hang out. like, you know, I think he's tremendously talented. I mean, he's part of Lead Heavy. It's just that little group of people. That I wish I had was able to be a part of. But I just wasn't very good at the time. I mean, now I could have. If they just launched, I'd be able to. I'm pretty certain I would have been able to with what I have now
Right.
available to me. But
Now you got me.
yeah,
Yay!
now I got the extreme lead heavy, right? Or the what do you call that? Like lead heavy 2000. Like when they reboot something.
Right. Lead heavy X. More lead. More heavy.
Definitely more heavy.
Fuck you.
You got that right. We have the combined talents and the combined weight.
Together we can rebuild him. Make him even
Fucking
stronger.
it's fucked up.
Oh, man.
How's modeling going?
Good. I like SketchUp. It's
I told
cool.
you you'll like it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like I'm glad you told me to start doing the tutorials. 'Cause I'm like, man, even like this could have been I could have used it a long time ago.
I told you no matter what I have you do, you'll come to appreciate it. You know what I mean? You'll find all sorts of ways. There's an exploratory phase of every artist's career that a lot of artists forego and just try to get right to making things. And it's a big mistake, in my opinion, because what happens is you run into a wall at some point, you know, and every artist go, oh, no, 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 no. But that means they haven't hit it yet.
Right.
But you will eventually run into this wall where you don't know how to improve. You don't know, something isn't working right. And it's like, well, it's because, there's that exploratory phase, that learning, real learning, that just was never done. And you have to go back to that step and start all over. And artists don't want to hear it. You know, I
Yeah.
can't start over. You know, like I'm not. And it's like, well, yeah. Like I told you, there's this guy who wanted to pay me to give him art lessons. It was like $50
Oh
a
yeah.
lesson.
Yeah.
And so I told him, why don't we make it $50 a month and we'll include like 4 or 5 lessons. And I gave him like about 4 lessons, and then on the fifth lesson, at the end of the month, he's like, "All right, well, I'm going to set up the next payment." I said, "Hold on, uh, I gave him the fifth lesson, and I said, the next lessons get back to me in like 3 years. Give it 2 or 3 years, and then come back. Just keep doing what I told you to do for the next 2 or 3 years." And he just didn't. He didn't like. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well," I'm like, "No, just do everything I just showed you for the next 2, 3 years, and get back to me. You know, and then we'll continue." Well, this one guy, is super popular. Someone with more views than me.
Right.
Was like, oh, he said he could teach me. I'm like, great. Well, then go to him. You know what I mean? And then in 2 or 3 years, when that doesn't work out, you come back, and we could do these next four. We can do these 4 lessons all over again, and then you can wait another 2 or 3 years.
Restart the clock.
Because I'm just letting you know. Learning how to like color, learning how to do 3D, that's one thing, bro. Learning how to draw, it's not gonna happen overnight. You know? And I told you the more you start using those 3D programs, I know how to get you to see in 3D, Brandon. I need time, and I need you to do what I tell you, and then eventually you will see it. It'll become very easy. You'll be like, I can't believe it. It's so simple. I just, you're right. You know. But me sitting there and handing you some stuff, like, you know, me hoping you'll work it out. I mean, that's never gonna happen. I mean, But there's not much I can teach people. I think some people just think I'm gonna like bestow all of this into them. It's like shit, I'm making half of this up as I go along, like
Right.
you see the difference.
Yeah.
Once you take this to color, you have to zero out the whites and then paint everything back in. There's no way around that, you know. You see how it's affecting just the brightest parts, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, sketch is fun, right? Just pulling and have you made a floor plan and built up from the floor plan?
I'm on what was it, lesson 4, I think it is. And so, oh shit. Um, let me see which one it was. I was doing it yesterday.
You there?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing?
No, I haven't got to the floor plan one. The one I was doing last was I think on number 2 or 3 I was on, where you build the house and then you start working stuff around the house and reshaping everything. And so I was doing that one. I did that one a bunch of times, erasing it, restarting
You
it.
can ignore anything that deals with texturing and stuff. We just need the modeling. All right?
Right. Because then you'll just add all that.
Yeah. And eventually, once you start to get a hang of this, you're going to need to look up some plugins. There's stuff you can add to SketchUp that'll make certain things easier to do,
Okay.
like things that'll snap on a line easier. But if you look for it now, it's kind of pointless, you know,
Right.
because you won't know really how to use them. Um,
Yeah, I just took some Benadryl earlier, right before you called, so it just kicked in a little bit. So I just my brain went a little slow right there. We went to Jessica's holiday dinner thing, and it was at the zoo. They got the zoo lights and stuff, and it was just cold and windy, and just fucked with my head. So I came home and popped 2 Benadryls. They just take like an hour or two and get me kind of druggy. Because I was thinking we were gonna be recording like first thing early tomorrow. Well, today now. So I was like, oh, I better not be up late.
I don't know. It might take me the whole day just to get shit. The problem is a lot of these involve videos that I have to screen cap from, and I haven't wanted to do it this week.
All right.
So I need to sit down and do it tomorrow. And it's just one of those things, dude. It's like, and then I get sidetracked with like, trying to figure out how to like use a print. You know what I mean? Like, I've
Right.
given up on the printer. It's a dream. Like much like the flying, much like the fucking hoverboard. Like I just have to let it go. I could be spending that time making paintings, and so.
we'll get you one of those hoverboards that are on those, what is it, big metal surface that they have now, where you're hovering over the metal and the
Yeah, it's not
magnets.
really.
I'm gonna go blow my nose. I'll be right back.
What? What?
So we watched Sin City 2. Man, that movie was bad.
Yep. Hopefully this is the end of Robert Rodriguez's career. He'll move to TV or some shit. Yeah.
I just so bad. We got about, I don't know, 20 minutes in just because like let's just turn it off. I was like, no, we're gonna sit through this. She was like, well, I'm gonna read. It's like, whatever. And there's like, I can't remember the chick's name, but it's the one from the 300 sequel. I think it's her. But
Dana Headley.
yeah, she's overly naked, like to the point where you're just like, even I was uncomfortable. I was like, all right, really, again, all right, because she's supposed to be like, I don't know if you ever read A Dame to Kill For, but she's
Yeah.
supposed to be like this. Okay, so she's the sex goddess type seducer chick, but it's just she's just naked so much where you're just like, really, like, I don't know. Like I'm a guy, but even so, I'm just like, come on. There's, it's not tasteful. So yeah, watch that train wreck. I didn't even realize for some reason I forgot or I just didn't think about it because I've read A Dame to Kill For, but and I have it, but I forgot that it was like a prequel to the last movie, kind
Right.
of with some of the stories, and so Josh Brolin being Dwight's character, I had no idea until about halfway through the movie. I just thought they had the same name. I was like, because it's just such a different looking actor. Josh Brolin from Clive Owen. I'm like, they look, they're nothing alike. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I made myself sit there and watch it. And I finished it, and I was like, well, they won't be making another one, so that's good.
No.
Just when everybody said it was bad, I was like, well, how bad could it be? They showed me.
Go sit through the spirit.
Oh, I have.
That's
I've
how bad.
yeah, that movie. Jesus.
Frank Miller is responsible for my most favorite and my most hated thing in this universe. The
So
Dark Knight
Dark
Returns
Knight
in the
turns
spirit. Yeah,
into the spirit.
yeah. I was telling my friend today. I said, "How weird is this universe, dude? We live in a world where the Lord of the Rings movies are getting worse and the Star Wars movies are getting better. You know what I mean? Like
That's
pretty
funny.
crazy, bro. You know?
Jessica never seen the spirit. She made it to about, I don't know, 10 minutes of it. She's like, okay, I'm good. And I was like, no. I go, no, you haven't even seen Nazi Samuel L. Jackson. She's like, what? I was like, oh yeah. I was like, it's not over yet. There's way more confusing shit. And then I fast forwarded to, I guess, Nazi Samuel Jackson, whatever that. Oh, and she's like, wow. I was like, yep. I was like, this is a real movie.
Yeah.
This is
Will Eisner would not have approved of this shit, dude. You know?
no, not at all. But that's how it went down. And now we know that Frank Miller can't direct on his own.
Can't direct with help either. He co-directed fucking Sin City 2. Hey, Sin City 1 was the most overrated movie ever, dude. You know? I walked in with, hey, this looks cool. Then I was like, that's about it.
Yeah,
Like, and I was kind of stuck. I was like, did I just see a movie I don't like? I had to think about it, you know? I mean, I don't know if I hated it. I don't know if I did like. And so it was right when I first started. Fast forward 6 months later, I start my job at Manage, my first teacher job, and that came out on DVD. And the guy that ran production in the back, Ali, was like, art department to the meeting room. So we go to the meeting room, and it's like, we're gonna watch a movie. You guys have to see this. This is the kinds of things we have to be doing. And he puts in Sin City, and I beg to get out. I'm like, no, 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 no. Please, I've seen it. You know what I mean? I own all the books. You don't have to. No, no, no. I want to watch a movie. And it was just, it was tough, dude. It's like sitting through a razor head for me. Like it's just like, this movie. I hate this movie.
that's funny.
You know? Don't dislike the look. I just don't like Robert Rodriguez. Robert Rodriguez is the most overrated actor ever. Overrated. You know, he's just not good. He's friends with one of the best directors ever,
Right, Quentin
Tarantino. That's
Tarantino.
it. That's it, dude. He's like the Rob Liefeld of fucking fuck that. Because no, because at least Rob Liefeld makes shit. Sometimes you just want to hate him. You know, I don't feel anything towards Robert Rodriguez. You know, I don't hate him. I just don't care. You know. I don't have a stake in whatever he's selling. I don't have an interest. You know.
Right. Well, it's like in Sin City, it's like we bought it on Blu-ray a long time ago because it was like $5, whatever, cheapo bin, and because Jessica had never seen it, and I was like, well, it's $5, whatever. And she's like, is it good? And I'm like, well, it's cool to look at. I go, it's like his art. You're looking at cool things, and I go, but this movie's very over the top. She's like, how over the top? I'm like, you won't believe what you're watching. And then I showed her, and she's like, it was cool to look at. I was like, yeah, I mean that's about it. Just I don't want to watch it again. I don't want to put it on.
It's not that it's over the top. It's that I just don't care. I don't care about anybody.
None of the characters.
I don't care. None of them have an art. No one grows. No one does. They're just doing stuff. It's like,
There's
look, certain things work in the comics because your mind fills in the blanks. You know, but there's no, and I can prove this. Like, if you go watch the Batman Year One animated cartoon, which everyone says is genius,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, it's an incomplete movie. Go watch it, then go watch Batman Begins, and you'll see why they added certain things, because it's not, to have the on a comic book page to fill the entire page up with black and have a guy say no. Hey, that works in a comic book. In a movie, it don't work, bro. Like, it doesn't work. Yeah, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. Miller doesn't create character arcs. He creates bold ideas.
Right.
And it's like,
Iconic looks.
yeah, that's fine, but that's it. It has to be more than that in a movie. And Hollywood doesn't really, you can't, if you have a really unique look, you can't keep doing it for every movie. Like that's not
Right.
what, yeah, in comics that works, but in movies, it's not like you take the look of, you know, Scanner Darkly and go make, Sleepless in Seattle with that shit. And then I'm gonna go make fucking Thelma and Louise with that shit. And then I'm gonna go
Right.
make, you know what I mean? Like,
It doesn't always apply to every movie.
that mentality doesn't work in film. People go to the theaters, they want to see something they haven't seen or feel like they haven't at the very least.
Hmm.
And they get very frustrated when they think they're seeing the same thing. When it's obvious that they're just paid to see the same fucking thing that they've already paid to see before. They get very, very fucking. They get very mad about that.
As they should.
This right here is the biggest part, chore.
I always tend to like the oranges and the golds that you create in your art more than the other ones, just because they always have like a good rustic look to it, I guess. Do you ever, I mean, I doubt you do, but do you have like a favorite tone or colors you like? Blues, reds.
No, depends on what I'm doing. You know. I mean, I know when I'm working in greens, I want to have certain blues and purples in there.
Hmm.
But at the same time, if it's a more tonal piece, I need more earthy greens. Just, it's like you start to. I mean, when it comes to like these oranges, I mean, obviously, I need these sort of reds and browns and stuff in there.
Hmm.
The famous and already in use. One thing I could say about this Copic with digital colors, when you print it out on the metallic paper, it's
Hmm.
pretty fucking impressive
Nice.
because of the brush strokes, like that the Copics create, you know? And when people got their prints last time, they're like, "Holy shit! I just didn't think, you know."
All right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, this stuff look cool, but and they get it, and they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, well,
Tell a friend.
you know, it's like you're welcome.
Jay Lee was at the show, and I was like, yeah. I go, I got a little couple extra bucks this week. I'd like a Jay Lee sketch. I walk over there, $150 for a head sketch. I was like, I don't have that kind of money.
It's Jaylee.
I know. I really would enjoy a head sketch from him, but I'm not a fanboy enough to spend my grocery money. So that's okay.
Dude draws from photos a little too much for me to care. You know, like if he draws, it would be something I would consider if he would do it like the way he used to draw, all fucked up and shit. That's some shit I can't get nowhere. But I'm not really into his whole. I trace over photos and add those blacks thing. I'd rather have a Tim Bradstreet drawing at that point.
Oh yeah,
You understand what I mean?
yeah, I get you.
Because Tim Bradstreet, you know, he uses photos, but you know, he's a real humble dude. You know, he's like, man, I draw from photos. I don't really see why everyone, you know, it's pretty crazy. But his look is far better. I can't pay no one for sketches because I would just be like, I could draw it myself.
Right.
Even Jim Lee, like, I could go sit down and fucking make it. You know what I mean? Like, I had to really think if is there someone that at this point, I mean, having that Tinapple sketch meant a lot to me, but mm,
Well, it was
mm,
like with Sean, right? I wouldn't really want to pay for a sketch. I was more interested in his, creator owned books. Ever since, our conversation on creating your own stuff, it's like I really see just the coolness in it more. Like it's really
right.
just showing me like, wow, you know. I mean, yeah, I tried making my own little comic, but it's not a whole world, and I didn't do it about the right way. But anyway, so I'm talking to him, and he's explaining his book and his Kickstarter. I was like, you know what, all right, cool. I'll take the two hardcovers. Why not? You know, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, I'm throwing a free sketch too. I was like, sure, that's cool with me. But I was excited just to get his books, his own content. So,
Right.
and it's just like you when you talk to me about like justice is served and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, that's cool.
Yeah. But see, the problem I have, like, again, like, I just, my idea is, like, what I want to do doesn't involve drawing 300 issues, you know?
Right.
Plus, Sean hired a whole crew, you know? A
Yeah.
lot of people helping him on that book. 3D backgrounds are being done by someone else. Coloring is being done by, you
Right.
know, like
The
well,
writing's done by the guy who did
sure,
like
sure,
Teen Titans and stuff.
sure. And because he's got Disney money too, he can pay his bills. You know what I mean? It's like it's a whole thing. So, but still, I would rather buy. I've always been into buying that versus buying, I gotta get the fucking new Secret War. Like I just don't care. I just don't care. I mean, Image was like the last thing, you know, that was mainstream that I was like, all right, well at least they own this shit, so anything can happen. Now it's like, I guarantee you there'll be 400 issues of Invincible. You know what I mean? You know why? So slowly these things become something else. But if there was someone could just buy a drawing from, I don't know, man. You know,
Right.
I mean that's really hard because I
Oh man,
don't.
I'll have to show you. I don't know if you'll like it or find it funny, but a buddy of mine, Mike Vasquez, I doubt you've heard of him, but he draws a lot of Adventure Time style stuff. That's like his,
Yeah,
main
Pendleton
thing.
Ward.
Yeah. So he draws just like that, and he does a lot of mashup pieces and like Walking Dead mixed with Adventure Time and Smash Brothers, etc. And he's been featured a lot. But anyways, he's like, I wanted to sketch from him. I was like, he's my buddy coming from California. I was like, hey, I want to sketch. And he's like, what do you want? So I had him draw the Crow, but as like the fan Adventure Time stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hilarious, man. It's basically Finn as the Crow, and then BMO. You know who BMO is?
The
Little
dog?
little
I don't
video
know.
game character. Oh, it's this
I
little
don't,
video game character. Anyways,
I
he
don't know.
made it the Crow. And it's funny. Like I'll send you a picture of the piece. You'll give it your fake laugh of yeah, that's cool. You won't care, but it made me laugh to see Adventure Time with the Crow. So just sharing that with you.
Again, another thing Dave Sim started.
Just say cool. Just
No. Dave Sim wouldn't draw Spider-Man, but he would draw Cerebus as Spider-Man.
right.
That sort of shit picked up. I guess if I could own any drawing from someone that I find and respect, it'd be Jim Cameron. Like,
Does
that
he
would be
draw?
it. Huh?
Does he
Does he
draw?
draw? Have you seen Jim's art? You know that illustration, in Titanic when he's drawing what's her face nude? That's Jim drawing it.
Oh yeah.
You ever seen Jim Cameron's drawings?
Nope.
Yeah, dude. He started off. He did matte paintings for movies, science fiction films and shit.
Let's
He's a
see.
master illustrator, bro.
Let's see.
He did all the concept paintings on Terminator, and yeah, you'll be quite impressed. Like this fucking dude's too talented, you know?
Oh yeah. That's cool. I see his
Yeah,
avatar drawings and stuff.
yeah.
Bastard.
Right. He's too fucking talented, dude. I mean, but yeah, that's some shit I'd like to own. You know, never gonna happen. But
He drew the Terminator with a knife.
the first thing he ever did was that painting of the Terminator coming through the fire. He had a nightmare of it while he was sick in Rome when he got fired from the Piranha. He was directing Piranha 2, or in a way directing, and he got fired. And he had this dream about an endoskeleton guy from the future come walking on a flame of fire, and he painted it. And that's the scene in the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's but yeah. Like I said, if I had any kind of money I could own something, it'd be something from Jim Cameron and one of those fucking pages from The Prophet. Don't know why, man. I don't know why. I don't know what about that book I dig so much. The
How much
older
does a
plat
page
art,
like that cost?
like 10 grand or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when I got you that birthday present book? That's as expensive as I'm getting.
The kind of shit I want, no one can get me. So that's why I
Right.
tell people, just don't. You know. You want to give me some? We'll get dinner. You know. Yeah. You want to start thinking about getting me Christmas presents and shit. You find someone who can fucking code in Unity. That's a Christmas present. Yeah.
I'll ask. I'll ask the missus.
We could start building shit in Oculus. Oculus just bought two companies.
Really?
One of them was just kickstarting their shit. Yeah, they made it so you can use your hands without gloves or anything. You know, and with the DK2 right now, and it tracks your hands. You pick stuff up, sword fight, all sorts of shit. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In Z space, totally, dude. And they bought him before the Kickstarter ended because it really works.
So they just canceled the Kickstarter?
Yeah, we'll be seeing you on the final build of Oculus Rift. Yeah. Bunch of guys from MIT and shit that worked on Connect. They're like, we actually made this work for real though.
Was James Cameron working on a Spider-Man movie at one time?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's quite famous. Hey, first he wanted to do X-Men, and he couldn't get the rights. There's a picture he did of Mel Gibson as Wolverine. He did a Wolverine face that kind of has a Mel Gibson-y look to it at the time. He did this concept painting, and then he was putting together Spider-Man, and they lost the rights.
Huh.
Yeah, he's the one who embedded the organic shooters. That's from his script. You know, the ability to just shoot webs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's him. There's a huge battle on top of the World Trade Center.
Uh, here's the Mel Gibson Wolverine.
Yeah. Can't remember, this is like 89, 90, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we laugh now, but I guarantee you, had he made those films, you wouldn't be laughing about it. You know?
Right.
I also wouldn't mind owning a piece of art from Anton first on the first Batman movie. He was a production designer on Batman. He committed suicide about a year or two after the movie. But he's the one that developed that look for Gotham. That it's pretty iconic now. His architectural renderings are impressive. That was the shit that I always loved. I loved movie art, you know?
Uh-huh.
Back when they still made real art for movies. Now it's not quite my thing. But yeah, Cameron's first Nate Terry sketch is pretty awesome. But that's how he paid bills too when he was waiting for Schwarzenegger to finish. Because he had a year he had to wait because he was tied to doing reshoots on this movie. So he uh, he did background art, movie poster art, and shit like that. And he'd paint it in his bathroom in this room he rented in this little one bedroom apartment. And he would paint them on doors, right?
Uh-huh.
On his door, his canvas was affixed to the door. He painted it, and then he just moved the door open and look in the mirror to double check to flip it
That's cool.
before Photoshop, right? To double check the perspective and shit. Yeah.
Uh, is it Michael Biehn? Biehn?
B- Michael Biehn.
Yeah, he was gonna be Spider-Man, huh? He was at the Comic-Con.
I don't know. He never casted anybody. He would have been too old for Peter Parker. No, he was the movie. Peter Parker was set. I don't know who wrote that. The role was set with him in high school, so it would not have been.
Right.
This is 90. This would have been made post Terminator 2, so he was too old for the role.
Uh, he was there today. I didn't really care. I saw him over there, and I was like,
He's a humble guy.
yeah. He was
He
next to
directed a movie
Linda
recently too.
Blair. I think it's called The Victim,
Yeah.
a horror slasher or something.
Yeah. It's guerrilla filmmaking, dude. You know, that's how you get a career. You know, there's the big blockbusters and then there's those movies. You know, which quite frankly is how Cameron got it. He got his career start in Dark Star. You know, and then when he was on this movie set, right? And they had to get these maggots and shit to move, and they couldn't get the fucking things to move. So he got some, put them down on this plate, rigged it up to a little battery, turned it on so it would make the fucking worms move. And they basically, so he went in there with Corman and he said, "I want to be the director," you know. And the guy said, "All right." And he walked out and they said, "What happened?" He's like, "Well, I guess I'm the director now." Do 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 do. Like people are just like this fucking guy, you know.
That's funny.
You know, a lot of people became sort of like Michael Bay became a big fan of Cameron, but he would always have the stories about how Cameron would yell and curse at people on set, you know, and it would be like, well, that's how I'm going to be. And for me, dude, it's that Cameron, dude, is one of these guys that clearly has a vision in his head, you know, like you can see this vision, you can see it so clearly, and he knows how to execute it. And very few people can do it, Brandon. Very few people can form a clear vision in their head and then go and make that vision.
Right.
You know?
And he probably too had the respect of all the people around him to where
Yeah.
if he were to cuss or sound like he's being demanding, it's because they respect him and they know that it'll turn out good in the
Well, he's
end.
chilled out since he had kids and stuff, you know? But when you're young, you got a lot to prove and there's tons of pressure, you know?
Right.
But this is a guy who like, they would you couldn't complain because he would be there before you and he would leave after you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a guy who phoned it in. He just demanded your best, you know? And I mean, that's my shit all the way, you know?
Right.
That's how I roll. And I hate it when people would tell me, and editors and stuff, you're doing too much, you're trying too hard. And it would be like, man, I'm trying to like, I mean, look, everyone wants to prove themselves, but I'm like, yeah, well, I need to make a splash here, you know? And they would be like, no, 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 just turn it in. I'm like, I don't know, man,
Right.
it's tough. I think, most people wish they could do stuff at all. And then once you can do it, it's like to tell you so you have to be limited is almost done. It's like,
Hooray!
but it's like I can't be a. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'll be a director, but I don't know anything about cameras. My dad wouldn't buy me one. He wouldn't get me anything that would mean I would be outside. Like he didn't want me outside under any circumstance. He didn't want me to go outside. So, I was like stuck to what I could do in the house, which meant drawing poorly, you know. And crafting my own stories and stuff. And I wish to God I didn't have to make Game Cave and have a full-time job. You know,
Right.
like it would not be taking this long. You know, I never would have kickstarted something when I had a full-time job. You know, I never would have been like, oh, go give me money to go make something while I have a full-time job. I would have gone and made it, then come to Kickstarter. You know,
Yeah.
And it's just such a frustrating fucking experience for me, you know? On that like that level alone is frustrating because there are days where I'm like, I don't know what to do on a certain scene. Like I'm in the scene, and even though I have everything down that I need to do, that doesn't mean you're still completely like case in point, like okay, you have these beats, you're like, okay, these things are gonna happen, and
Mm-hmm.
this happens. You don't just then take the character, write them in, character walks in, they say this, and this happens, and you move on. I'll tell you what happens when you do that. It reads shallow. It reads like it doesn't make any sense. You see this in TV all the time because they have no time, you know?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, wow, these characters show up, they said what they needed to say, and yeah, and we moved on, you
Right.
know? And you know how many times you've seen that, right?
Yeah. All the time.
And that, yeah, that's because they wrote down on the beats and then you wrote it really quick and, but, I have a book here. I don't have to fucking just crank it out overnight. So it's like, all right, well, I get that needs to happen. So what I need to do here is I need to think about what characters are talking, and then what did the character who, like if I have Bombcat talking to Troubles, what, and this whole time we've been hanging out with Bombcat. When she goes to talk to Troubles, I need to think about, well, what has Troubles been doing all day up until this point? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like what's really her state of mind? 'Cause otherwise, I'll just have her saying the things she needs to say so Bombcat can move forward and do other stuff.
Right. Just move the
And
story along.
and that makes Truffles like a one-dimensional character. You see what I mean? Like that's something like, well, you know, then you feel like you're almost trying to be duped into thinking that your protagonist is a hero. It's like if Truffles is gonna not like someone or she's gonna have an opinion, you have to really get into the head of that character and think about it from their perspective. And sometimes I have them doing things in areas I haven't been to yet. So then I'm like spending forever trying to describe this area when I'm like, why don't I just fucking draw this shit? You know? I'm an artist. Draw it. But my first inclination isn't to do that. I forget I can draw. It's a weird thing I've experienced. Past month or two, sometimes when I'm writing, I forget I'm an artist. That if I really want to know what it looks like, I should just sit down and do some visual development. But because I only have made time to write, I'm like, well, I should be writing. So
Right.
that means I need to sit down. Like, no, that means I got to a point where they're going to be doing some shit somewhere. I need to develop what that looks like first. Then I can write it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I spent a lot of days, Brandon, just sitting around trying to re-describe something that don't work. And I've had to like learn that lesson the hard way. It's like this particular process is like, can I just avoid this? Can I just put the shit on there? I'm like, well, I can, you know,
Uh,
but what do I want this stuff to look like? And I'm tired of looking like I don't want to look like a guy who just cranked down a bunch of shit to get something on Kickstarter. It's like I'm going
right.
up on there because I got some cool stuff. Stuff that if they repost it, I can be like, all right, that looks cool. I mean, this would probably look 10 times cooler if I did it all digitally in terms of color. But, I can't sell something like that, like the original art. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like having that over some of the artists' heads. There's some artists that just all they work is digitally. Like, it's very pretty. I'm like, but they can't draw. You know? I don't know, man. I think that's it. definitely need to bring some of that down.
That's what I was thinking.
Where is that fucking thing? That's better.
Is there another commission after the princess one?
Psylocke.
Oh, I didn't know you were drawing a Psylocke.
Yeah, I put my roughie up on.
On Facebook?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Oh, I haven't been.
I could show you it.
Uh,
There's my roughie.
ooh, nice.
Yeah, see, I can do tune too. So hard.
I like it.
I don't know how. I mean, since it has to be Copic colored, it has to be more dynamic in terms of the color. But if I could just do cell shaded, I would be. I'm done! But they spend a lot of money, so. Yeah.
She should have a British scarf.
You just keep your opinions to yourself. You worry on that fucking. You get too busy on that SketchUp. You worry about that shit.
I only say that because people were they were talking about today the thing. They're like, yeah, one of the dude's girlfriend's like Asian, so they're like, yeah, you should cosplay Psylocke. Someone else goes, yeah, but she's British. I'm like, yeah, only in her mind. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, she's put into an Asian body. I don't even like Psylocke, but I like this.
Yeah, I'm getting my mojo back, dude. You know, but one fucking thing at a time. Get that SketchUp worked out, cause I gotta start drawing background shit. We got tons of stuff to do here, dude. Ton of stuff. Now I gotta get you up on Flash in between all that, so we can get you up on that other stuff we talked about. Because I feel like if you just get that down, dude, and start, we could probably have that piece you've been working on. If we could just nail those elements,
Hmm.
then we can get that up. You know, I just think with those elements not nailed and a few other little things here and there that can be added in, uh, I think it'll work. Then we can start with the next one with game cave shit. You know,
Hmm.
and I can throw that shit up on the backers and be like, here's some extra shit. You know.
Right. That mask on him turned out real cool. Were you having trouble drawing the mask on this one?
No. No.
You said it was a
I,
bit
I,
hard.
had, I had a little bit of difficulty trying to figure out which way I wanted to go with it.
Ah,
You know, I didn't want to do the pointy thing. You know,
hmm.
so I had to figure that out.
I have to look, but did you put you know that old Ninja Turtles you did where uh, Splinter has lightning and stuff? Did you put a Casey Jones on that one?
No, no, I had two pieces I was supposed to do. One was that for the opening, and there was gonna be this interior battle piece, and they decided to drop the extra coverage and only went with that one. I pushed for that to be the cover, but they didn't apparently spend enough advertising dollars to warrant that. My interior piece was gonna have uh like all the different versions of turtles fighting, like the original like comic versions fighting the 80s, fighting the modern with Casey Jones fighting. I mean, I was gonna have like this is big mashup shit, dude.
That would have been cool.
Before that cartoon thing came out, before that. and I don't have it here. It's on my other computer, but yeah, I have the layout somewhere. It's fucking crazy to look at, but
Yeah, you can show me sometime. What's next after this to do?
clean up and then highlights. Clean up. This is where you gotta like be in love with doing the work, dude.
Right. Those non-fun hours.
This is where it's like, well, why don't you just paint the whole thing digitally? It's like, well, because then I wouldn't have had anything to sell,
Right.
you know? I gotta start digging through Audio Jungle and find some music we can use for these things.
Right.
Actually, there's something else I have to do first. And that is shadow. Forgot about that.
Damn shadows.
Hmm.
Have you got a lot of rain over in your area last day or so?
No. Got some rain, sure. I wouldn't call it a lot, but San Diego seems to freak out.
Like the floods are coming.
You want a little coloring tip?
Sure.
It's one of those universe. It's one of the few things I can say apply to everything you'll ever do. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
If you if your color scheme is light is cool, then your shadows should be warm. If your color scheme is warm, your shadows should be cool.
All right.
So see, I'm using a red here, a dark red versus the purple, because it's primarily cooler up here. Of course, as I get down here, they should probably fall cooler. So I'll have to do a little bit of adjustment.
All right. I think I'm gonna go to bed because those pills are kicking my butt, and I can't stop sniffling. You want to hit me up sometime midday today and let me know what's up?
Oh, I don't have any of the books set up, dude. So
Oh,
if something changes, I'll let you know.
all right. Or if you got more you want to record, or if you just want to chat.
Yeah, I'll probably want to chat while I'm making the books because fucking it's a fucking nightmare. If I could hand them to you, but I can't. Even you would know what to. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's just something I have to sit down and fucking do. And because I've already done 1,500 of them, it's like I'm not looking forward to doing it right now, but I have to. So,
All right. Just hit me up.
all right.
All right. Like.
And now I gotta do cleanup. This is gonna take a bit. Let me go warm up my coffee. Oh, scheiße. Alright. Well, I believe that is complete. Pretty cool. All right, that's it. Talk later. Bye.